Bwahahahahaha. My name is Amy too, and welcome back to Synth. Continuing on, Big Boy and Buddy found a blue planet with the same temperature in which he and the other boys were born. What? You mean body temperature? But that also gave it no chance of becoming a planet of life. Are you sure about that? It can get around 98, 99 in some parts of the world pretty regularly. And if not on some level or other, there was no hope of it's becoming a planet. It's already a planet though, right? And with that, the blue planets that they were forced to make were not planets at all. They were simply the end of worlds. Now the fact that these worlds were being formed within a large void of light shows that if these other planets were still alive and were forming elsewhere in space, it would be impossible for these blue planets to come up within such a void of light. And there would have been nothing inside of space between them. The blue planets would be dead. And those planets where they were would all be destroyed by nothing. So these blue planets were not in fact voids. They were simply lifeless voids. So they're life-filled voids? So the blue planet were a hollow, empty space, empty universe full of space. What we know for ... Yeah, that's pretty stupid. Moon drove his car into town, causing a few trees to bend in its path. After he made his move on everyone from the other side of town, the man began arguing, getting more excited than usual, when he spotted a young girl walking in the corner and grabbed her. What is this, a pedophile? What is this? He pulled her on his back and slammed her head into the sidewalk, causing her head to drop. Oh, it's just assault, I guess. As if that's any better. Then he grabbed the girl by the hair and pushed her back down the street, her head spinning and dropping down the concrete. He yelled his last, and finally his car drove off, driving through all of town's parking spaces, causing a few trees to break in a series of broken branches and causing a small crater to appear in the road. What? But this had not been the end of him. That's unfortunate. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small blue box. And what's that supposed to do? Anyway, that's a pretty awful one. Moon drove his car into town. He found that this town was populated with aliens. That their leader had been killed and that he was in the prison and was still there. He heard the news on TV and drove there, where he found Zeta and the others who had tried to kill his father and take over his home city. That's ambitious. However, he was discovered by Zeta and taken to the main prison, which he fought the guards. After the battle ended and the prison is destroyed, they left him in the hospital. The group is at the hospital trying to get healed and get a new arm and leg. They get a report of a car accident, which will bring an angry man named Oren, who is coming to take over the prison. Well, at least these guys seem better than the previous guy. They try... Okay. At the hospital, the doctor gets them the information from Zeta, who is dead. I didn't hear about that. The group is at Oren's cell. As they are going to kill the prison leader, a man named Mr. Oren gets out of the cell. Yeah, it's his cell. Mr. Oren goes down and threatens them, and they are stopped by Mr. Oren, who says they have to kill his brother Ziha. And the two brothers are killed. That's unfortunate. And then the group is left alone to wait for death. That's also unfortunate. Later in the film, it's film, Zeha visits the gang to get them to join him. The gang tells her how Oren's brother, Zeha, killed Zeka's father. It's already invented so many names. Which Oren is confused about. And they leave her the note explaining how he tried to take over a prison where Zeka was his daughter, and how Oren helped him and saved her life. And that they will kill each other because the prison leader, who is Oren, wants to take over the prison, and Oren can't take Oren's life. What is this? And that all of the prison guards have betrayed him. She asks Zeha what her plan is, and why the prison leader is Zeha's father. And then they decide they will kill each other. Not logical next step. By telling the story of the prisoner who killed his own brother in the car accident, and he wants to take over the prison, and Oren will save her life, as well as help his brother Oren take over the prison. And then they will leave her alone and let Oren leave as well. In the next scene, after Zeha tells the gang that Oren has a gun, they all kill each other. What is this? Oren leaves Zeha alone and says that it is their duty to stop each other. She says to him that she will try to take over the prison, but then Zeha says to him that she will not be allowed to take over the prison because it is wrong. That's a good reason. They start killing each other. So, I guess your reason is kind of void, because that's also wrong. In the next scene, after Zeha makes it very clear that she is going to help him take over the prison, and then they start fighting each other. When Zeha is talking to him that she will be a great helper to him, the two fight each other, and eventually they both die. Wonderful. During the battle, while one was standing in front of Oren, the other had to jump in front of Oren, while still facing Zeha. Oren is saying that the time to die was at night. Why? While Zeha still was speaking, and then one of the gang jumped in front of Zeha, but she pushed it out of the way. It? Okay then. While the other was pushed out by Zeha. So now the time for the time to die was at night. While Zeha was speaking at that time, she still had a gun by her side, and one of the gang who had jumped in front of Zeha said, "Oh, this is easy." And then the gun was shot by the gang in the forehead, but now the gang didn't know what happened and had run away. And then Zeha's gang is now out of the prison. I guess it worked out in the end. And after the fight, they ran away. Didn't it already say what was equivalent to that? And after that, Zeha had told their team that they are going to prison to be used for a prison crime by the gang. What? To make the gang think that they are going to be used for murder. What is this logic? She wanted the gang to realize how wrong they were thinking about the prison. She told the team the gang would do a lot of things for each other, but this is something different. The gangs are fighting each other. But there are still two gangs remaining. And when the team gets to the prison, Zeha asks them, "How did you guys get to the prison so fast?" While the team is still out. ... Oh, this is a relatively short one. Good. Moon drove his car into town with an intention of picking up a girl on their way to a nearby school. After hitting a tree, he ran out of gas and what? And hit a guard to stop the car. That's not a good idea. They were pulled over and searched. I would assume that more would have been happening than that. They found their way to a school. He was found to have no drugs or alcohol on him. After the crime, he confessed, telling them that he saw the girl being sexually assaulted by his uncle. That's not a good thing to know. That's not a great thing to have knowledge of. Ooh. He also claimed that his uncle was in the gang, but he was not. Oh, more gangs. Once back at the police station, they showed him CCTV of the scene, but found nothing. He was charged with sexual assault, but due to a lack of blood evidence... Blood evidence? Is that something that is needed for that? There was no conviction for him. I mean, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. During all this, he was not given a fair trial in the court of law, so he is still serving a 40-year sentence. I thought there was no conviction for him. Cody Brown. Photo. WFTS. Brown was born and raised in the community of Westchester. However, during his early youth, he would become involved with gangs and alcohol. He would later spend a lot of time in a local jail. At 17, he was caught in a violent altercation with a couple. Which one? His parents? Or what? Though he's already a member of a gang, the police would try to get him to turn them over to the authorities. As a result, he ended up in a cell. During this time, he became extremely violent with his fellow inmates, threatening to stab another inmate during a fight. He also threatened to take them hostage and kill them. How do you take another prisoner hostage while you're in jail? Well, I guess you just have like a shank or whatever and like hold him with this whatever. He eventually ended up working his way up to the highest level in his prison, and he served a number of years before being released. By now he was a regular at the crime and gang events. Crime and gang events. Yeah, like this is some kind of fair. However, he was also known for his tendency to get down on his knees and beg for money. Wonderful guy. He would offer the money to any gang member for money. So it's a scam? By now, he was involved with the gang. He would eventually end up breaking the law and breaking it. I thought he already broke the law. Is this going back in time? Randomly? Whatever. How long is this one? Moon was fixing the radiator on his car when suddenly a flash of silver flashed through his eyes. Oh, through the eyes. It was an instant of great joy for him, but soon enough it disappeared. The entire planet turned red and cold. The sun was covered in an ice-cold black layer. That's unnatural. And no light at all shone through. At that time, the entire Sky City's streets were lit up with ice-cold fog, but within that fog, the sky in its depth had not changed. In fact, it was just like a very clear night. Even though many people were around there, everyone couldn't see into the clouds, into the outside world because of that. No one knew how it ended. How? In the blink of an eye, the entire Sky City was covered with freezing fog. The ice-cold fog seemed to freeze all the air in the world in an instant. In the beginning, the people in the streets had an overwhelming sense of fear. With so much fog around, it was no wonder that many people didn't dare to step out of their houses. As there was no longer an escape route, it was easy to see that even the snowflakes were frozen into their tracks. I mean, they're already ice, so... Their faces filled with fear. It was almost a matter of life or death. Just when people were about to step out of their houses, suddenly, cold fog swept over and started to encircle their entire bodies. A deep sense of pain spread through the whole sky. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. If you liked it, subscribe, like, whatever. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.